Hi, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Welcome to this workshop. You can raise your hand if you can hear us okay. That'll help. Thanks, Katja. Thanks, Avi. Awesome. Yeah, we'll let a few minutes for people to join the workshop. Hi, everyone. You can use the chat section below to tell us where you're watching us from. All right, things are getting spicy. Wow. Yeah, Liverpool, Finland, Sweden, yeah, lots of Northern Europe, Mexico. Hi, everyone. Hey, Patrice. All right, so while we wait probably just 1-2 minutes more, just a few guidelines on what this workshop is going to be structured like. So we'll first start as usual with a little presentation. We'll introduce ourselves and what the workshop is going to be about. Then we'll get straight to action. We'll share our screen, the chatbot builder, the ins and outs of these lead generation process we have, and then afterwards, as usual too, we'll have the Q&A section, which is probably the most interesting part of the workshop. If you check the bottom of your Zoom interface, you'll see that there's a Q&A section there. So I would love you to use that one if you want to ask questions, as it's going to be easier for us at the end of the webinar to go through them. You can use the chat section to say hi, that's fine. But if you want to ask a question, please use the Q&A section. This is being recorded. That's the #1 question all the time. So no worries. This is going to be recorded, and we'll be sending out the recording probably in the next 24 hours. So yeah, I guess we're ready. Victor, what do you think?
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. As Chris mentioned, I'm going to be sharing my screen. First, we'll have a quick intro on some slides, and then we will get directly to the workshop. So yeah, let's go ahead.
Awesome.
Cool. Give me 1 second here, and I'll be sharing my screen. Everybody can see my screen, right, guys?
I do.
Cool. Awesome. So welcome to the workshop. The idea of this workshop is to, sorry about that, is to understand how we use Landbot for lead generation and lead qualification specifically. Well, this webinar is going to be presented by me. I'm account executive at Landbot, and Chris, which is our co-founder and VP of customer. So, well, a little bit about the webinar. At first, we will be explaining a little intro and how we use conversational experience in our bots. This is a super important topic, and I'll be reviewing it with you guys. Then we will head on the qualification stage, how we qualify users or clients, and Chris will finish the presentation with integrations and next steps. Okay. So just to give you some bullet points on this part, first we'll make the intro. I'll be explaining the conversational experience, how we give that human face to our bots, and how we use media to reinforce this, and how to add different variables to personalize this experience and be more engaging with your clients and users. And afterwards, I would be explaining the qualification process, how we use different qualification questions, how we assign a score, and goals to measure if the bot is performing as expected. And to finish, Chris will be guiding you through the different integration options to send that qualified leads to one of your internal systems or maybe your CRM. We have some examples, and also how to use formulas or conditions, which are a little bit more advanced, but I'm sure you guys are going to be enjoying it a lot, because that brings Landbot to a whole new level. And absolutely, and following up with the first part, define next steps for your clients. It's super important to give that conversational experience as well. So Chris, and then we will have the Q&A time. So Chris, I'll be first going through, and wait 1 second here. Yeah.
Yeah, just one small comment where you switch to the Landbot itself. So this is hopefully the first of a series of workshops where we're trying to get you in our shoes and understand how Landbot uses Landbot. Basically, we think it's interesting. We'll start with the basics, which is how we generate leads, which is owned by marketing for the sales team to close those. Yeah, so if you got any idea, if you would like to see how marketing uses Landbot, how product uses Landbot for product research, for example, how, we got a lot of processes. Every single team here uses our own tool to get the most out of every interaction with end users. So if you want to know more, you can, just use the chat section, the Q&A section, suggest new subjects for future workshops because we are listening to you guys. So yeah, just wanted to mention that. Go ahead with that beautiful Landbot over there.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that, Chris. So, well, we wanted to show you guys how would the bot look like actually, and we will be sharing like as well how the bot looks in the inside. That's the important part, right? But we wanted to show you how would be customer facing. Also remind you guys that the bot we've created for this workshop, it's almost just like our bot. We just made it a simplified version because everybody has to give their their magical touch in each one of their bots, and personalize their experience as they want. So this is a simplified bot of our actual bot, but we are using the same features you guys will be seeing in this workshop. So an intro message, as I said, conversational experience. Let's just fill it in. So my name would be Victor. Nice to meet you, Victor. Just in case we get disconnected, can I have an email address? Sure. Well, not my personal one. Let's just do a test one. Cool. So just to know you better, could you answer the following question? Some clients feel like they're overwhelmed with answering a lot of questions, but in this case, I'm fine answering more questions. So this is kind of the multi-question option. Just my company name, test Landbot. I'm in Spain, and my phone number, just going to add a random phone number. And okay, so how I'm going to be assisted. So as you guys see, and obviously this bot has different routes, I'm going to be wanting to select to book a meeting directly with one of their agents. And well, thank you. Please follow the next step. So let's book the demo. Really interesting, this part, because you guys will see how the Calendly integration works. So actually, this is my own calendar or Calendly. And yeah, let's book it at 4, for example, for tomorrow, and confirm the meeting. So I will be scheduling the event.
Yeah, something pretty cool is that, I'm sorry, Victor, you might have noticed
please.
that the data was already pre-filled on that Calendly pop-up. So the user has already provided name and email. So our integration just populates that data, so he or she doesn't have to enter it again. Just the comment.
Great point. No, absolutely great point. Thank you, Chris. So awesome, Victor. See you soon. So I'm all booked for tomorrow, and that's pretty much it. Any comment here, Chris? Anything else you want to review?
I just not really. So now we are gonna dive into the chatbot builder, and what I really love about Landbot is that we've seen it's super simple, straightforward, 3 questions, book in a minute, and that's it. But you'll see how many conditions, and we try to simplify these one, guys. But you'll see it's still how many blocks we're using in the back, how many integrations are possible, and how smooth your sales process can go with an automation like what Landbot provides. So let's get straight to it.
Yep. Let's go. So this is the, sorry, I did create one one option there. So well, As you could see at the beginning, we always create a message. This is really important to give this conversational experience. Don't think that just shooting the questions to your clients is going to be working, because that probably will not work. You need to add a conversational experience to engage with the user better and move him forward through the process to, create that engagement. Okay. So as you guys can see, that this is one of the main things we do. We are going to be able to, ask different questions with the send message block, and then at the name question, right, to give that conversational experience, that human face. And this is a super important point, as you guys probably know, we use variables for multiple purposes. In this case, the name. And the good thing about it is that we're going to be able to use that variable as well in the conversation to hyper personalize that. So as I added Victor in the question name, when moving forward, the bot is going to be calling me by that variable selected. Want to add something, Chris, here?
Not really, just regarding the conversational approach. It's super important to keep in mind the context of the conversation. When we design a bot, we usually think about how we want to tell things, what we want to tell, but we need to think what's the journey that end user is following before, getting into the chatbot. So in this case, it's like, hi there, thanks for getting in touch with Landbot's team. And that's perfect if this bot is located, for example, somewhere in our website where you're checking information, you want to know more, and you click there. But imagine you're running some paid acquisition campaign on social media, and you got a banner that talks about, I don't know, the wonders of your product or service, and users just click there. It wouldn't make sense to just say, hey, thanks for getting in touch, give me your email, So it's really important to take into account the context. In this case, we're assuming that the user already knows something about the service or the product we are offering. But if it's, coming out of nowhere, like an ad or some retargeting or whatever you guys are doing for acquisition purposes, you may want to check the context. Where is that user coming from? Does that user know anything about us? Because if he doesn't, it's better to give context. Like, what are we going to talk about? Just wanted to clarify that, but the rest is perfect.
Absolutely, Chris. Thank you very much. Well, and moving forward, for the email block, as you could see before, they would be asking me for the email, thanks, also the variable name. And here is where things get, I don't want to say complicated, but here is where magic happens. So once I select the option sure, I would be moving to a multi-question block. Okay, as you could see, they would be asking me my company name, the country, and the phone number. Okay. It's important before asking clients like a lot of questions right away, like make sure that they're going to be feeling comfortable and sharing this information with you first. And exactly what Chris just mentioned is super crucial for this. So as we assume that, yeah, we clicked sure, here is where magic comes. So, and this is, from my perspective, Chris, as you know, for the sales team, this is a super important feature or functionality, which would be the lead scoring. Okay, so this is, for me, from my point of view, this is how I understand what clients are more suited for a meeting or for a call or for a later contact. And that's how I can save time and prioritize some more qualified users or clients against another ones that maybe they were just like, exploring Landbot, and they jump to this bot, and actually they still need to learn more about Landbot before speaking with me. But this is totally up to you guys. So what do we do here? So depending on the answers, we are going to be given a score to each each one of the clients. So for example, country, and this is a really good example. We were asking about the country because maybe you're focused just in, I don't know, Spanish speaking countries, and probably you want to give less inferior score or assign almost no score to countries for English speaking countries, right? So that way you can prioritize on Spanish speaking countries because for whatever reason, your business is more focused on them, right? And that's how you can split those leads and understand well how to prioritize them. Okay, So, Chris also will let you know a little bit more about conditions and how they work. But basically, the lead scoring will assign that score, and based on that condition, that as I mentioned, Chris will be walking you through. You will be able to go to one of two parts, and this is magic. Why I said magic like already 3 times, because depending on the score, you're going to be able to give a different customer journey. And that's super important. So if we understand that the lead is not qualified enough, we're going to move forward with a message. The business development team will get in touch with you soon. So with resources, with our academy, inviting them to do our trial, these kind of things, right? Let's say that the lead is it's qualified, and it will take me through the same customer journey I showed you before. So for the book meeting option, we would be moving forward with a GIF. Also very important for the conversational experience. Try to add that media, that video, that image about you guys, or just to express an emotion, because that's super engaging for clients. So as you could see, we have the Calendly blog with our native integration, as Chris mentioned as well. And that would come back to buttons if, like, for example, the event was canceled for whatever reason, and we can reroute the client to book the event as well. I'll be talking now about the goal block, which is super important for qualification, but let me show you how the bot finishes this. So after sending the message, awesome, the name as well as the variable to give that conversational experience, see you soon, we will be sending this to Will, in this case to a Google spreadsheet. And well, Chris will guide you a little bit better on this, but it will be super straightforward. We have different options, and we will explore in a few minutes. Chris, do you want to add anything else at this point? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, I'm muted. Yeah, I was going to say that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. Awesome. Great. Just checking. So, okay. So instead of that option, and before jumping to the goal block, which is super important, if the client decides to I'll like you to call me, we will be asking for the phone, right? Well, we will be checking with a condition if they added the phone with the multi-question option we saw before. Also, we input a formula, and Chris will explain it later, but basically it's to verify that it's an actual phone number, right? The same happens, for example, with the lead scoring for emails. Like if they added a Gmail account, that will have a less score because it's not a corporate email, right? That's how we do it. Cool. So after that, we have a same goal, that it's creating a call or creating a meeting, and the bot will finish in the same way, right? So what is this goal feature that I haven't explained yet? So I love it because this feature will make a checkpoint within your flow in which you want your clients to get to that goal, right? And then you can test your bot performance. You can understand how many users came to Landbot and how many users reached the goal you were looking for with Landbot. And that way you can try that efficiency. This is a really important point. Chris, maybe you want to add something here, or?
Yeah, just one small point, and is that set goals. Like, many times we create a chat bot just for the sake of, conversationalizing some processes. But at the end of the day, it's all about conversion, whether you're generating leads or you're trying to get happy customers from providing support. So goals is the most straightforward way to see that. I'm pretty sure Victor will walk you through the analyze section where you can really visualize what goals are all about. So maybe we can give him a look at the analyze section to see how these goals display there and the conversion rates they generate. Oh yeah, I think I'm in this. Yeah, I'm doing something and I'm causing you trouble. Yeah, if you can refresh, Victor, I'm sorry.
Okay, sure, no worries at all. There we go. Yeah, let's go to analyze section. Because without data, how are we going to understand how to improve the bot based on that data, on the drop-off rate from some questions? Maybe there's a specific blog that is creating friction. So yeah, as Chris mentioned, like the analyze section is super important. I don't know, Chris, if you want me to go directly to flow analytics, or you want to explain a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah, we can explain both. So
Sure.
the goals are all about setting a specific point within the flow that's going to mean a conversion for you. But at the same time, with the flow analytics section, we are tracking every single block by block conversion. So you might think, all right, but if we got the flow analytics, why would I set goals? Like, I don't really need them. I already got the drop off rates and the conversion rates. Well, if your body is somewhat complex, it's going to be hard for you to see exactly where you're, where you're trying to get your leads and what's working and what's not. So flow analytics, it's great to what Victor explained. So understand whether there's some friction. Imagine you got like 3 different questions and you see an 80% drop off in the phone question. You may want to remove that question because it's causing a lot of friction. And that's what flow analytics is useful for. If you're just trying to track your overall performance, like what's that goal you've set, for example, getting a call or getting a meeting, probably goals will do the job. So as you can see what Victor is showing, for every single block, we got 2 different types of outputs. We got the green ones, which means that they are moving on to the next block, and we got the red ones, which means they're dropping off. If you see anything over let's say 20-25% of drop off, you may want to reconsider the copy, what you're asking for, the order of the blocks, and so on and so forth. So yeah, flow analytics is great to understand the overall performance of the bot, but when it comes to goals, yeah, it's better to obviously set a goal. So you can go back if you want to metrics, to the metrics tab. Yeah. So on top, you'll see that right next to the line, which is the format of the graph, you get the possibility to select your goal. So there's a blue drop down there.
Yep, but
for some reason,
maybe
I think we're running into the same issue. Let me check real quick because I think I got it open here and that's what's causing. Yeah, can you go back to the builder, Victor?
sure.
All right, I'm gonna answer just a second. I'm gonna request your control. This is a cool feature, guys, by the way, which is requesting control from your teammate. So you should receive that control request now.
Like, do you mean
yeah,
like,
I've requested the control of the bot, so you should receive the notification.
like through my
I think
email?
something's wrong with your connection. So if you can go to your dashboard, just exit the chatbot builder so I can just make it super quick.
Sure.
Check here.
Or hey,
sorry
look,
guys.
yeah, no worries. Hey, look, I can totally like, like stop sharing the screen and you can start sharing yours if that works better.
That might be better. All right, let's do that.
Okay.
Give me a second. I'm sorry about this, guys.
Technical problems in live demos or workshops, it's the routine, man.
All right, let's see if I can share this thing. Give me a minute. I need to find Zoom. All right, there we go. I'm gonna share this one. Yeah. All right, you're watching my screen, right?
Yep.
Nope. All right, so here we are. Let me see if I can actually select the goal here.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
So for some reason, I don't know. Yeah, probably I don't know if your connection or something.
Maybe because we were, are working the same bot at the same time or whatever.
So here, if you click on the drop down, you'll see a checkbox for every goal block you've created. So going back to the builder, we got this one here, which is a meeting goal, and this one here, which is a call goal. So if I go to analyze again, I'm constantly moving the video, sorry guys. And I select the goal, let's see meeting, for example. So we get a conversion rate straight away. We got 5 meetings out of 33 conversations. So that's a 15% conversion rate. So what about a call? It's a 45% conversion rate, which eventually will tell us that people would rather get a call than book a meeting. And this is, this will really depend on your business, but without the goals, you'll probably, it would take you super long to realize about these. So if these were one of our customers, I would just say, go for the calls. I mean, it's always good to have options, but if the call is performing 3 times better, you may want to simplify the bot flow and just go for the call. But this is why, these goals blocks are so important. It's super visual. You don't need to think about anything else, and just, selecting the goal here, checking the conversion rate, whichever works better, just go for that one. Yeah, I don't know if there is anything you want to add here, Victor.
Actually, no, that was pretty straightforward. Thank you, Chris.
All right, so going back to the builder, and I promise I would be talking about formulas, conditions, integrations. Just one clarification, guys. This is a very simplified version of the bot. Originally we wanted to share like the real version we were using in our marketing and sales department, but the reality is that it was just way too complex, and it was just too unique to our use case. So we thought of creating this simplified version, but walk you through the different options you have and how you can make it more and more complex. So essentially it's the same thing, just a little bit simplified. So let's start with the lead scoring block. I think Victor just walked you guys through it, but in short, I would say that the lead scoring block is like a combination of conditions. So it would be like conditions on steroids. You can do similar things with both blocks, but you would probably need, let's say, 10 conditions block and a couple of set variables to do what you can do with just one lead scoring block. So pretty straightforward. You just create a rule group and you start setting conditions. In this case, a classic. If you're using a gmail.com email, we're not going to assign you a score. In this case, if your email does not contain gmail.com, we're going to set 3 points to your score. And that's it. But we can obviously add more more conditions here. For example, if I don't know, any variable, like for example, what Victor was mentioning about regions. Imagine you're given 3 options for regions. Well, I'm in EMEA or APAC or LATAM, and I'm only focusing on LATAM customers. So you may want to give a higher score to that one. And that's how it works, so you can create really complex scores. I think right now in our live bot, we're using probably 5 different variables with 3 to 5 different score possibilities depending on the answer. So you have that full range of score, and you can not only say, all right, this one gets in and this one doesn't. You can say, all right, so this one's going to get a call straight away. This one's going to be allowed to book him in. I'm going to follow up through email with this, or I'm just going to, hand it over to support if it's not qualified at all, if it's not a match for our purpose. And so I strongly recommend you to use lead scoring block for every single one. You got how to use here. You got full documentation on how to use each and every block. So this is what I was talking about. So before you would need a lot of conditions and set variables block to do what you can do now with just one lead scoring block. So if you want to know more, take our documentation. We got a knowledge center with the knowledge base, the academy, the community. Go for it, help.landbot.io, and you'll find everything you need. Moving on, and before I forget, I wanted to stress how important this thing right here is, and I'll tell you why. So, we got 2 options here. Whether we ask for name and email and then just keep asking more and more questions, which will eventually lead to a drop off in the chatbot flow. It's always better to be straightforward. Like, hey, you want to answer more questions? If you don't, it's fine. But if you do, you're probably, self-qualifying yourself because you're able to provide more information. So this is also a great trick for you. So it's not only the information they provide here, but just the fact they want to share that information, it's already a qualifying. This is the same as what, enterprise software does with this gated content where they ask you for 10 different fields to get a demo. It's self-qualification. I mean, if you are able to fill that, if you want to take the time to provide all that info, you're probably qualified to get a meeting. So this is super important. And then the multi-question, just also reinforce that it really depends on which part of the conversation you're at. You may want to have a conversation for every message, or you may want to have all the questions, a question per message, or you may want to have all the questions together in a multi-question, which looks like a form, so to speak. So depending on where you add in the flow, how conversational you want to be, you may want to go for one format or the other. But that's it. That's it for that part. Continue with the lead scoring block, which is say conditions, plot, set variable, email on steroids. Here we got the conditions because we will always need one. And in this case, we're checking whether the score is greater than 2. Since with the least scoring block, we're only assigning a score for non-gmail.com email addresses. And we're assigning 3 points. So if you have a Gmail account, you're going to follow this path. And if you get any other domain in your email, you're going to follow the green one. So are you a Gmail user? No demo or call for you. If you're not, which usually means that you come from a company. If you're targeting companies, of course, this is very unique to our use case. You may want to send them to this book a meeting or take a call. Sorry about that. So continuing with this part, and this is also super interesting. Here we're asking for the phone number because the person wants us to call him or call her. So we're asking for the phone number, and here we're using formulas. So some of you might see formulas and might think, well, that's probably a bit too complex. I'm not really used to formulas. I'm not technical, but forget about that. I mean, formulas, it's just like a Google spreadsheet for your variables in the bot. And you can do really, really interesting things with formulas. For example, you could, I don't know, you could count the number of characters within a variable, which is exactly what we're doing here. So if I zoom in a little bit, you'll see that we're checking here the phone length, which and we are using the variable phone for that, and the function length, which will result in a number. And if that number is greater than 15, that's probably fake.
Exactly.
So we're going to ask for it again. If it's less than 15 characters, we can keep going. This is super simple, guys, but you can make it as complex as you want. For the most tech savvy users, formulas block would also allow you to do some regex validation, for example. So you can really, paste that huge formula there if you want to validate numbers from any country around the world, or ID numbers in a specific format, or you name it. So there's a trillion possibilities with formulas, from really simple use cases like this one to more complex ones where you just keep concatenating formula after formula. So we are checking whether that number looks like a real number. If not, we're going to ask for it again. If it does, we're going to call it a conversion, and the flow will end with a farewell. Of course, we always need to add a farewell. And let's dive into integrations. I think that's an interesting part. So, I would start by saying that there are mainly 3 different types of integrations in Landbot. So on one hand, we got native integrations. So if we go to advanced and we scroll down here, we'll see the different integrations. So on one hand, we got the native ones, which means that we got a native integration created for a specific app or third-party tool to be able to send and or receive information. For example, Slack is a native integration, Airtable, Google Sheets, Calendly. So all these integrations are native to our system, which means that it's just basically a couple of clicks and you got it integrated. Then we got Zapier, which is like a middle point between native integration and a custom integration. So Zapier, you might know, it's a tool that allows you to connect to thousands of apps with no code. So you basically set a trigger, and that trigger is going to cause an action. In this case, the trigger is reaching the Zapier block, and the action can be anything from sending that lead to your CRM to creating a Spotify playlist. So there isn't anything you can do with Zapier, and it acts like the middleman for integrations. And it's a great option, to be honest. So it really depends on your use case, how frequent that integration is going to be triggered. You may want to use Zapier or any of the other native integrations. But sometimes you might look for Pipedrive, for example. So I'm using Pipedrive on my CRM, but it's not a native integration. So I can go for Zapier. But that's not our case. And we do use Pipedrive. And that's because there's a third type of integration, and that's webhooks. Yep. Webhooks is the big boy of integrations and basically the most flexible one. So I would say that it's still somehow no to low code. If you're not familiar with requests, you may find a hard time the first few times you're trying to configure a webhook. Again, there's a lot of documentation too, but it's slightly more technical, and it can get really technical.
Yeah.
But in exchange, it will give you the possibility to integrate anything. And when I say anything, I mean anything. So you just paste here an endpoint. You want to make the request to just select the method. You want to pull data, you want to send it, you want to edit it. And then you just start configuring all the requests down here. So you can send variables to your CRM. You can make requests to your CRM to bring variables back to the conversation. Anything is possible with webhooks, really. And you can click here again to learn how to use it. So summarizing, we got 3 different types of integrations. We got native ones. So if you see the logo of an app here, that's probably a native integration. Then we got Zapier, which is a middleman that will allow you to integrate with a ton of tools with no code. And last but not least, we got webhooks, that it's basically the meta integrator. You can do anything with webhooks as long as that service or middle server or third-party app has an API. You'll be able to make a call through a webhook in Landbot. So for this bot in particular, we're using Google Spreadsheets. We think it's super straightforward and it works great for most of the companies. So in this case, this is a spreadsheet we're sending the information to. We got all the variables that the bot is collecting: name, email, even the more info one, like you want to provide more information, we're also storing that one too. Then we got country, company name, the score, and some extra like phone number, start time, which is the system variable you may find useful as well. Oh, sorry. And yeah, spreadsheet. Someone's requesting control. I'm going to deny it for some reason. All right. So yeah, in our case, we're using the Google Spreadsheets integration. And in our real lead generation bot, we are using webhooks because we're connecting it to Pipedrive. So it's actually myself with the bot open in a different tab. And I believe it's probably this one. Yeah, so let me close the previous one. I was just switching tabs. Yeah, so as I was explaining, in our case, we use Pipedrive, so we better have a webhook block. But it really depends on what tool stack you're currently using.
Exactly. Also, Chris, to add
Yeah.
something, can you go back really quick to the spreadsheet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just to show you guys like the example. As you can see, when I created the test at the beginning of the presentation, as you can see, there's my data in row number 25, Victor, test Landbot.io, and all the different information captured, just to you guys to make sure like this is how you would be seeing it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. So going back to the app, we just get a closed tab here. This block, what it does is it basically changes the status of the conversation from unassigned to closed. This is going to really depend on your workflow. But if you're combining automated attention with human-to-human interactions, you may want to pay attention to the chat statuses, because when you go to the chat section, as you can see, you get different statuses here, like assigned to me or unassigned. And so this is going to depend on your workflow. In our case, we usually just close the conversation, close the chat at the end. So if another agent is handling other bot and wants to reply to a customer, this chat is not there because there's no need to reply to it. Oh, by the way, I forgot about these ones. We got notes here. This is a note, by the way. This is quite used, but many customers and users don't know about this feature. So you can just create a note anywhere in the flow. And this is great if you're collaborating on the creation of the bot flow, because you can leave notes to your developers, to your engineers, to your marketing people for the copywriting. You can do anything. You can attach images, you can format everything. And yeah, we strongly recommend the use of notes. Also, when you're handling big flows, like hundreds of blocks and with breaks and so on and so forth, it might become a nightmare to understand what everything is. So having notes here and there to explain, all right, so this part of the flow is going to qualify, this one is going to generate a minute, this one is going to do this and that. It's going to help you understand the flow, make it big without losing your mind. So yeah, use notes. That's recommended.
Exactly. And Chris, not only to share it when working with a team, but also like to remind it yourself. Maybe you've created a super long bot and you want to, add a note there to, hey, this one was the qualification part. This other one, it's more for frequently asked questions, or, hey, I have to continue this part of the bot, I'm missing whatever. So yeah, it's super useful.
Absolutely. And Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it.
Yep.
Things we could be adding. So for example, we get a lot of Slack notifications. If you're on Slack, this is super useful. If you're using Microsoft Teams or Jammer or any other tool, you can use Zapier. But it's super cool, every time we receive a super qualified lead, hey, there's a Slack message for the sales team to keep them motivated, or a Slack message to the support team if there is any help we need to provide. So yeah, Slack notifications also give it that real-time vibe to all these interactions,
Mhm.
because creating a record in your CRM is great, but also keeping your team engaged is just as important. And that's probably it, Victor. Unless you
Yeah,
want to add something, we can probably jump into the Q&A section.
let's go ahead. I've seen that we have already some questions, so sure, let's do it.
Awesome. All right. So again, it's Q&A time. So we'll be paying attention to the Q&A section. I'll be checking real quick the chat section in case there's a question there. And actually, there's one from Hector that's asking, can you send a link to that bot to somehow replicate the flow? Yeah. I don't see why we wouldn't be able to do that. So yeah, let me write it down. We can probably include it in the email, at least a link
Mhm.
to it, so you can see it and replicate it for sure.
Yeah, to use it as a template or just to get inspired on your own process.
Absolutely. So now into the Q&A section. First one, what kind of blocks will you be presenting today? All right, this was at the beginning of the
Self-explanatory.
webinar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were talking about many blocks, from questions to conditions to formulas, lead scoring, integrations, goals, notes, like a ton of different blocks. The next one is, does HubSpot meetings work for this step? I understand that was a Calendly one. And that's a good question, because that reinforces my explanation about the difference between native and non-native integration. So what you've seen about Calendly, it's a native integration, which means that well, it's 100% compatible with every Landbot format. It's going to behave great. It's going to work perfectly. Can you do that with HubSpot meetings? Of course you do. But you may probably have to customize it a little bit to make sure it looks great on every scenario. There's always the option to share a link. It really depends on the device the user is on. That would make more or less sense. For example, if you're mobile, usually, opening up a new window or a new tab, it's, causes a lot of friction, because you don't really know where the previous window was. If your end user is on desktop, you may want to send just the link for her to book the call. So yeah, I would recommend you reaching out to support if you want to get HubSpot meetings working on Landbot. I'm pretty sure there's a workaround for that, and we
Yep.
can make it work for you. All right, next one. Does the start time come automatically, or do I need to add a block for it? That's a great question too, and I'm happy to say that it comes automatically. I mean, it's created automatically. So for every single conversation, there's a default variable, which is our conversation started at. But if you want to send that one to your spreadsheet or CRM, you'll have to include that in the integration. So if I'm going back to the chatbot builder,
Yeah, let's show it.
here it is. Yeah, where is sorry, it's the Google Spreadsheets one. You'll see every variable we're sending to the spreadsheet, and one of them is I'm sorry, it was the start time. It was not the sorry, I was confused. It was not the start conversation, which is the default system variable. It was actually the Calendly start time, which is a
Yeah.
variable that's stored through the Calendly integration. So yeah, this is stored automatically for Calendly. And if you want to send it over to your spreadsheet, for example, you need to specify that in the integration. But yeah, both Calendly start time, event type, and I think a couple more variables are stored automatically, so you're able to identify who booked them in, when, and so on. All right, next one. Is there a way to create a conversational ad? That's a very interesting one. Oh, there was one before. We'll
Yeah,
answer it.
exactly. Yeah, could I integrate with email or phone verifications APIs? And actually, well, you can explain it again, Chris, but yes, you're going to be able to do this probably using our webhook block. I don't know if you want to add anything, Chris, here.
Yeah, probably the two options you have is whether you use regex through formulas, or you use or the webhook block to check with an API. It really depends, and I wouldn't recommend. I mean, it's super cool to call an API to check whether that phone number is right or not, but sometimes that can cause some delays in the conversation. So it's always a trade-off. If you want to really, if you really want to make it sophisticated and make sure that exact number exists, yeah, you can connect it to an API, definitely. But if you want to go a bit faster, if you want to make sure the experience is not hurt by those delays in those requests, because it's Landbot calling some API, that API making a request to verify. So you may want to use other simpler version of verification, which can be a conditions block, which can be a formulas block.
Yep.
But yeah, both options are more than possible. Yeah, and the one I was talking about earlier on. So is there a way to create conversational ads? That's a juicy question, because this is a little bit out of Landbot's scope, because it really depends on the publisher, on the service you're using for paid acquisition, that that their ads format will be more or less flexible. In general, I would say, unfortunately, it's not possible to make it conversational. Like, imagine you're scrolling down through Facebook and you see this ad, and then this ad is actually a Landbot, so you can start engaging with the conversation there. Unfortunately, this is not possible. There's ways to hack it. I mean, for example, you can create a GIF, or you can create a GIF that looks like, that button is popping, so you really feel like clicking on it, and then you click on it, and it's going to send you to the chatbot itself. So I don't think, there are many options there to make it 100% interactive, and that's again the limitation from Facebook, Instagram, whichever service you're using. But there's ways to work around it, like what I just mentioned, like faking a conversation. You can create a GIF where you displays one message, another message, and then a couple of buttons, and then the user just wants to click. Next one, how would you adapt all this flow for WhatsApp bots? That's a good question. Want to take over, Victor?
Sure. Well, that's pretty much the same. Okay. But taking into account that on web, we're pretty much can do whatever. But on WhatsApp, we're limited by the content that WhatsApp allows. So yeah. So for example, like the button option, like selecting just a button and that's it, wouldn't be possible, but you can create the same process as we did using keyword options, for example, that block. So instead of using a button block, you would be using keyword options, and the user would be answering instead of clicking the button. In WhatsApp, they can add the number 1, for example, to select the first option, or you can target keywords for that. So for example, if they want to contact support and that's option 1, they can input the number 1 on WhatsApp and send it over, and they will be directed to that section, or they can write down in WhatsApp support to be directed to that. So there's certain content that you're not going to be able to use in WhatsApp, but you can use in web. But yeah, we have a full documentation on that. We can probably also send that in the email follow-up, or you can look at it in our academy. You want to add something here, Chris?
Yeah, just real quick. So from what we've seen, there are 2 blocks actually that are not compatible. So one of them is the multi-question block, and
Gotcha.
that's obvious because of the interface limitations. And the number 2 would be the Calendly integration, because you can obviously you cannot, pop that message, that Calendly modal on WhatsApp. So you may want to send a link, which is something we were talking about a few minutes ago. So yeah, but I would say, like Victor mentioned, 95% is just the same. The builder will adapt what you're typing, the options, the buttons, into what WhatsApp is able to understand, so you don't really have to worry about that. It would be great to have date and time of the lead coming in. It will definitely, and it's possible. Right now, I can't recall the full list of system variables we provide, because we do provide a few. But if you can check with our support team, you can reach us out at help@landbot.io. We can let you know what the system variables are and how you can use them to leverage the experience, like understanding when that conversation started. actually, there's a feature called message hooks, and this is a bit technical, but if you use message hooks, you get basically all the information for all the interactions. So for example, you can know exactly when X message was delivered, when Y response was received. But yeah, it's doable. Reach out to us, and we'll show you how it's possible. But yeah,
Cool. Can I take next one, Chris?
go for it.
I
Yeah.
like it. So depending on the flow and the score of the lead, can I show a calendar of a specific agent? Yes, that's right. So let's say that you have like a really senior account executive or an agent and a more less experienced agent, right? So once you apply the lead scoring and that way you assign that score to that specific lead, if that lead is over 10, let's say, you can send it to that Calendly agent. If not, you can send it to the other one. So that way you can prioritize and send to the senior agent in this case, or sales rep, just really qualified leads with the highest score, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, it does. Next up, do you recommend doing this lead qualification via WhatsApp? That's a great and very open question. Generally speaking, I would say yeah. I would say WhatsApp is a great channel for lead qualification. It's probably, I mean, and for lead qualification and lead enrichment, by definition on WhatsApp, you already got the phone number from the user you're speaking with. So lead generation makes a little bit of, nonsense here. But for lead qualification, I think it's great. So the way we say it, the web is great to capture leads. But then you can whether keep talking through web to nurture, to qualify, to enrich those profiles, or you can send them over to WhatsApp, which is a more engaging channel. So I think it would be perfect, just capturing the lead, whether it's on the web or just receiving a message via WhatsApp and completing the qualification. Yeah, I think WhatsApp is ideal for that.
It's really good. Yeah, exactly. And as you guys know, like WhatsApp has a huge open rate. So like, I don't know, it was like 97% or something like that. So much more engaging than an email for sure. So yeah, completely.
And
yeah.
And also the reply rate, because sometimes, we tend to compare like SMS and WhatsApp, and we need to admit that SMS still has a great open rate. The thing is that when you receive an SMS, which is usually a transactional message, you're not really thinking about responding. And that's where, all this WhatsApp automation can take shape and be a huge help for your business. All right, so the same person asking about these conversational ads is actually sharing a conversational ad platform I knew nothing about until now. So thanks for that. I'm going to write that one down and check it out. It would be dope to make it compatible with us. Maybe it's probably a combination of both tools, something like that. And then through hidden fields, you can probably send out information to the Landbot conversation. Yeah, we'll definitely delve into that one. Next up is, can video size be adjusted to the screen? I'm not sure if it's slightly generic. So for, when you're using YouTube or Wistia, there is a default default size for that video. If you're uploading your own one, it's going to depend on the quality of it. So I'm afraid I'm not able, and I think you either, Victor, to really respond properly to this one.
No,
so if
exactly.
You can reach out to support with the video you're trying to use, and whether you want to make it bigger or smaller, or just adjust it to the screen your user is in, let us know and we'll be able to help. The next one is super interesting. I see you use it all the time. How can I call person's name when sending remarketing emails? So when they click on the link, the page already recognizes them. That's a very, very interesting question. And the response is hidden fields. So let me go back to the chatbot builder right here. And this is always we constantly do. So every time we do a survey, a workshop registration bot, anything like that, and we already got the list of users we want to send that to, we're going to use hidden fields. So if we got your email, if we got your name, we're not going to ask for it again. So the way we do it is, first you need to go to settings. Sorry, let me delete there. I think there's a webhook somewhere that's always caught. I don't know. No,
oh, because
it's just like one, I think.
Yep. There
So
you
we go
go.
to settings and then hidden fields. So hidden fields might sound counterintuitive, but actually super powerful, and we strongly recommend you to use it. So hidden fields are basically URL parameters. So imagine you can, what we were saying, so you can add variables to the URL itself. And how you can add those variables? Well, first you need to add them here. So for example, if you already know the name of the user, you can add the variable name. I'm just adding it here, and I'm going to apply changes. So when I go to share, sorry, apply changes. When I go to share and share with a link, I copy this link and I paste it here. And I can add at the end of this link any extra variable I have. So for example, I just need to add in this, for example, sorry, name. This is going to add the variable Chris. And let me go back to the builder to add the name to the welcome message so you see how it works. So this is a welcome message. Hi there. I'm going to add name here. Awesome. I'm going to publish it. Going back here. So the first thing I did was work settings, hidden fields, and add the name as a hidden field. And then I'm just going to add it to the URL like this. So if I click on this bot, it's going to tell me hi there, Chris, because it's actually taking this variable from the URL. It can be, you know, a name, or it can be name and then email, and then anything else. So you can add unlimited variables to the URL. So this is, you know, when you're trying to send that URL bot to one user, but you may want to send it to hundreds or thousands of users, just like the way we do it. And how you need to format the URL, it's going to depend on the tool you're using to send those emails. So for example, in our case, we use MailChimp, we use Encharge, which is our marketing automation tool. We use Intercom. So there are different tools we use to send these bulk communications. And each one of these tools has a different format for variables. So, you know, in Landbot, it's very straightforward. It's just add and the name of the variable. In Intercom, for example, it's a bit more complex. But you need to know how to format that. So instead of doing, you know, name equals Chris, you would go name equals whatever Intercom calls name, you know, the name variable. I think it's something like days or similar. So here, instead of just adding one value for a variable, in this case name, I'm adding a variable to a variable, sorry, a variable to a variable. So this is super powerful because you can have a MailChimp list with 1,000 email addresses, and yeah, just discover how MailChimp, for example, calls a variable name, and you just need to add it to the URL. Boom, you're done. It's the same as when you're customizing the subject in your email or customizing the email itself. Like there, you know, like hello, first name, that classical email we've all received. So it's the same here. Just go to the app, recommendation, settings, hidden fields, and click here to read the support article. Again, it might not be super intuitive in the first time you take it out, but it's super powerful, and it's key to customization. So yeah, give it a chance. All right. Yeah, we're gonna go fast with these last ones because we only got 2 minutes left. So are you gonna integrate with Instagram in the near future? Near is a very open word. I would say probably not near. I would say we do have plans to be, you know, as channel agnostic as possible. It's already possible to use our API channel integration to integrate any channel with an open API out there. I would say probably not in 2021. Instagram is probably not going to come, but that's something we will surely consider for 2022. So the more requests we get about these, the more prioritized we'll get. So feel free to burn our social media support channels with these, and the product team will definitely think about it. Do you need to do the hidden fields manually, one person at a time? Yeah, so this was probably a couple of minutes ago, so not really. Yep. So the way you would do it is just use the way that service you're using to send that email calls that variable in particular. And yeah, there's another question in the chat section, which is, and what happens when I do that, but I do not have the value.
Not sure.
Oh yeah, so you yeah, he might be asking about the fallbacks. So for example, when you're sending out an email and you want to customize the name, sometimes you don't have the name for a given subscriber. So instead of you know, just making it up, you may want to add a fallback. So pretty much every other system allows you to do that. MailChimp, Intercom, all these. So if you don't have the name of Chris, but you only got his email address, you may want to add hey there, for example, and you put there instead of the email. So that's what we call a fallback. And it's great when you don't have that value for a user. Yeah.
Cool. I think we covered everything here. Oh, no, wait. One last question. Oh, just wanted to say thank you. Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much, Victor, for hosting this thing. And thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you,
It's
Chris.
been great.
Yep.
All right, guys. So thanks a lot. See you soon. We'll be celebrating the next workshop in probably 2 to 3 weeks. It's going to be a super interesting one because we're going to have a super team, which is Steph and Abby presenting really cool customizations. So stay tuned to your email. You'll receive an invitation soon. And again, if you want to suggest anything as a topic for our next workshops or webinars, what you want to see, let us know. We are here for you and to show you how to take the most out of Landbot. So thanks again. Thanks, Victor, and have a great day.
Thank you guys for joining us. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.